You know what's interesting? Everyone says they want to be happy, but very few are willing to work for it. We live in a world where people chase happiness like it's some prize waiting at the end of the road. But the truth is, happiness isn't something you find. It's something you build. It's not in the money, the validation, or the applause. It's in the quiet moments where you choose peace over anger, discipline over excuses, and growth over comfort. Happiness is not easy. It's a challenge, a daily one. And if you're not challenging yourself to be happy, you're allowing life to decide how you feel. Happiness isn't something that just falls into your lap. It's not luck, and it's not fate. It's a result, the outcome of how you choose to live your life every single day. Most people wait for happiness like it's a reward that comes after they've achieved something, as if it's sitting somewhere in the future waiting for them to arrive. But that's not how it works. You don't wake up happy by accident. You wake up and make decisions that lead you there. Decisions about how you think, how you react, and how you handle what life throws your way. Happiness is a skill, and like any skill, it demands practice, consistency, and patience. You see, we've been taught to chase happiness instead of creating it. We're told it's tied to success, relationships, or external achievements. But when those things disappear, and they often do, so does our sense of joy. The truth is, the happiest people aren't the ones who have the most. They're the ones who make the most out of what they have. They don't depend on perfect conditions to feel good. They decide to find purpose even when life feels messy and unpredictable. That's where real happiness begins, when you stop waiting for the right time and start making the right mindset. There's a difference between pleasure and happiness. Pleasure is easy. Anyone can buy it, scroll for it, or drink it. But happiness requires discipline. It demands that you show up even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing gratitude when your day falls apart. It's keeping your word when no one's watching. It's pushing yourself to grow when staying comfortable would be easier. Happiness is the reward that life gives you when you have the courage to do what's hard, not what's convenient. And that's why happiness is earned. It's not about pretending everything is okay. It's about becoming the kind of person who can stay grounded even when it's not. You earn happiness when you stop blaming others for how you feel and start owning your emotions. You earn it when you rise after failure, when you forgive even without an apology, and when you stay kind in a world that tests your patience. Every act of strength, every moment of restraint, every choice to stay positive when it's easier to complain, that's you earning your happiness. So, if you truly want to be happy, challenge yourself. Don't look for it in people, possessions, or places. Build it within yourself. Happiness isn't a gift life gives you. It's a muscle you strengthen every time you choose discipline over distraction, purpose over comfort, and resilience over fear. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you can always control who you become through it. And when you do, you'll realize happiness was never something to find. It was something to become. Comfort kills joy. It sounds strange, doesn't it? We spend our entire lives trying to make things easier, finding shortcuts, avoiding struggle, protecting our peace. But the more you chase comfort, the more you numb your ability to feel alive. Comfort feels good for a moment, but it quietly steals your fire. It tells you to stay where you are, to avoid taking risks, to protect what's familiar. And soon, without realizing it, you're stuck. Not because you can't move forward, but because you don't want to leave what feels safe. Comfort slowly becomes a cage that looks like peace, but feels like emptiness. Think about the moments in your life when you truly grew. They weren't easy. They were uncomfortable, uncertain, sometimes even painful. Growth demands struggle because struggle forces you to confront who you are and who you could become. The gym doesn't make you stronger without resistance. Life works the same way. Every challenge you avoid is a chance you deny yourself to evolve. The truth is, comfort doesn't protect you, it weakens you. It keeps you from developing the resilience, courage, and strength you need to face life head-on. We live in a time where everything is designed for convenience. We don't wait, we don't struggle, we don't challenge ourselves. We want fast results, instant validation, and effortless success. But here's the reality. The easier your life becomes, the harder it is to feel fulfilled. Humans are wired for purpose, not passivity. You don't find happiness sitting still. You find it in motion, in the act of pushing yourself, learning, and overcoming. When everything comes easy, you stop appreciating effort. You lose the satisfaction that comes from earning something, from knowing you didn't quit when it got hard. You live in comfort too long. Even small challenges start to feel overwhelming. You start doubting yourself, avoiding risks, settling for less. Comfort breeds fear, fear of failure, fear of discomfort, fear of change. But when you choose discomfort on purpose, when you willingly walk into the hard things, you build confidence. You realize you can handle more than you thought. That's when real happiness begins to grow. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. So, challenge yourself. Step into the cold water instead of dipping your toe. Speak up when it's easier to stay quiet. Take the opportunity that scares you. Choose the path that forces you to stretch. Discomfort won't destroy you, it'll redefine you. Every time you face something hard, you reclaim a part of yourself that comfort made you forget. And one day, you'll look back and realize happiness wasn't waiting in the easy moments. It was hiding inside every struggle that made you uncomfortable enough to grow. Your emotions are your responsibility. No one owes you happiness. That's a truth many people don't want to hear because it's easier to blame others than to face ourselves. We say things like, "They made me angry. They ruined my day. They hurt my peace." But no one can make you feel anything unless you give them that power. People can say and do what they want, but how you respond, how you let it affect your spirit, that's on you. Taking responsibility for your emotions doesn't mean pretending things don't hurt. It means refusing to let that hurt control your life. It's not about being cold or unbothered. It's about choosing strength over reaction, control over chaos. When you rely on others for your happiness, you hand over the steering wheel of your life. You start waiting for people to behave differently, waiting for apologies that might never come, waiting for validation that was never your responsibility to earn. That's how you lose yourself. The longer you wait for someone else to make things right, the more you delay your own healing. True power begins when you stop expecting people to fix what they broke and start building yourself again from the pieces. The moment you decide that no one else controls your peace, you free yourself from emotional dependency. People will disappoint you. They'll misunderstand you, betray your trust, and sometimes take advantage of your kindness. That's life. But your peace doesn't have to break with every storm. You can choose calm even in chaos. You can choose grace instead of resentment. When you start mastering your emotional responses, you realize that you are not what happens to you. You are how you handle it. Happiness, then, becomes less about circumstance and more about emotional discipline. The strongest people aren't those who avoid pain. They're the ones who feel it, process it, and still rise above it without losing their compassion. Emotional responsibility means you stop seeking closure from people who never intended to give it. You stop letting your past dictate your present. You stop replaying the same story of who hurt you and start rewriting one that focuses on how you healed. It's not easy. Taking responsibility rarely is. But every time you choose not to react impulsively, every time you choose peace over pride, every time you refuse to let bitterness take root, you build emotional muscle. You become unshakable, not because life stopped testing you, but because you stopped allowing it to break you. No one owes you happiness, and that's actually empowering. It means you don't have to wait for anyone. You can create your own peace, your own joy, your own balance. The day you stop blaming others for how you feel is the day you take your power back. Because happiness isn't given, it's claimed. And it's claimed by those who take full responsibility for their emotions, no matter what the world throws at them. Happiness is built, not found. It's not waiting at the end of some perfect path, and it doesn't arrive just because life finally goes your way. Happiness is something you construct piece by piece through the choices you make, the habits you form, and the mindset you protect. It's built from the quiet work no one sees, the moments you hold yourself accountable, the times you choose patience when you're frustrated, and the days you show up even when you don't feel like it. People waste years searching for happiness as if it's buried treasure, but it's not out there somewhere. It's built within you through daily effort, through discipline, through the decision to create meaning out of everything that happens to you. You can't expect to find happiness while living passively. You can't wait for it to just appear when circumstances improve. Life will always bring struggle, disappointment, and change. And if your happiness depends on things staying perfect, you'll never truly have it. The people who seem the most at peace aren't those who have everything figured out. They're the ones who decided to build stability inside themselves. They understand that joy doesn't come from a lack of problems, but from the strength to face them with purpose and grace. Every day gives you a choice, to build or to break. When you complain, compare, or dwell on what's missing, you chip away at your foundation. But when you practice gratitude, take responsibility, and focus on growth, you lay down another brick. It's not glamorous work. No one applauds you for choosing kindness instead of bitterness, or for finding something to appreciate on a bad day. But that's where real happiness takes shape. Not in the big, loud moments, but in the quiet ones where you keep showing up for yourself. Gratitude is one of the strongest bricks in that foundation. It shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have. Courage is another. You need courage to let go of what's familiar and take steps toward what truly fulfills you. Purpose keeps you steady when things don't go your way, reminding you that your life has meaning beyond the noise. And discipline, that's what binds it all together. Because happiness is not built on how you feel in the moment. It's built on what you choose to do, even when you don't feel like it. So stop searching for happiness like it's a destination. Start building it with intention. Each time you choose gratitude over envy, growth over comfort, peace over reaction, you're laying the groundwork for a stronger, steadier version of yourself. The truth is, happiness doesn't come to those who wait for it. It comes to those who build it, brick by brick, moment by moment, until one day they realize the life they were chasing has been quietly taking shape within them all along. Pain and happiness coexist. It sounds contradictory, but it's the truth most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. We're taught to chase one and escape the other, as if happiness can only exist when pain disappears. But that's not how life works. Pain is not the enemy of happiness. It's a part of it. You can't fully appreciate joy if you've never felt loss. You can't value peace if you've never experienced chaos. The depth of your happiness often matches the depth of your pain. The two are connected, not because life is cruel, but because it's honest. Every hardship, every heartbreak, every disappointment adds layers to who you are. And in those layers lies the strength that allows you to experience happiness in its truest form. Most people believe happiness means the absence of pain. They think if they can just avoid getting hurt, they'll finally find peace. But what they don't realize is that avoiding pain also means avoiding growth. Pain teaches you resilience. It teaches you empathy. It shows you what truly matters. When everything is easy, you don't learn much about yourself. But when life challenges you, when you're tested, broken, or forced to start again, that's when you discover what you're made of. Pain has a way of stripping away the noise and revealing truth. And often, that truth leads you straight to happiness. Not the shallow kind that depends on circumstances, but the deep, steady kind that comes from knowing you can endure anything. Happiness doesn't mean smiling all the time or pretending everything is fine. It's being able to hold both joy and pain in the same breath. It's sitting in your struggles and still choosing to see beauty in the world around you. It's knowing that even in your darkest seasons, there's light somewhere. Maybe small, maybe faint, but still there. Pain gives happiness its meaning. Without it, joy would feel empty. The people who seem the most peaceful aren't the ones who've had perfect lives. They're the ones who've suffered deeply, but refused to let pain turn them bitter. They found grace in their wounds, not by ignoring them, but by embracing what those wounds taught them. The truth is, pain changes you. It softens your edges, humbles your pride, and opens your heart in ways nothing else can. But you have a choice in how it changes you. You can let it harden you, or you can let it shape you into someone wiser, stronger, more compassionate. Happiness doesn't come after pain. It grows through it. It grows in the healing, in the rebuilding, in the courage to move forward even when the scars are still fresh. So, don't run from pain. Don't hide from the parts of life that hurt. Sit with them. Learn from them. Because the moment you stop fearing pain, you stop losing your power to it. You begin to see that happiness and pain were never opposites. They've always been partners in helping you become whole. Comparison poisons contentment. It's one of the quietest, most dangerous habits we fall into without even realizing it. You scroll, you see someone's success, their lifestyle, their looks, their relationships, and suddenly, what you have doesn't feel enough. It's not that your life got worse in those few seconds. It's that your perspective shifted. You stopped seeing your blessings and started measuring your worth through someone else's achievements. That's how comparison works. It doesn't take from others. It takes from you. It steals your gratitude, your confidence, your joy. It blinds you to your own progress because you're too busy watching someone else's path. The truth is, you can't be happy and envious at the same time. One will always destroy the other. The moment you start comparing, you move out of your lane and lose sight of your own direction. You begin chasing standards that were never meant for you. What you don't see is that every person you envy has their own struggles, their own insecurities, their own unseen battles. You might be admiring a moment they fought years to earn, and you're judging yourself in comparison to that highlight. Life isn't a race, and happiness isn't a competition. When you measure your success against someone else's, you'll always come up short because there will always be someone with more. More money, more attention, more recognition. But that doesn't mean they have more happiness. Your journey is your own. You can't walk forward while constantly looking to the side. Comparison distracts you, weakens you, and disconnects you from what truly matters. The more you focus on someone else's path, the more you drift away from your purpose. You forget how far you've come. You forget the struggles you've already overcome. You forget that your pace, your process, and your timeline are valid. Growth doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Some people bloom early, others take longer. But what matters is that you're moving, that you're learning, becoming, building. The antidote to comparison is gratitude. Gratitude grounds you in your own reality. It reminds you that what you have right now was once something you prayed for. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's meaningful. When you practice gratitude consistently, comparison loses its power over you. You start to realize that happiness isn't about having what others have. It's about valuing what's already yours and continuing to grow from there. So stop looking sideways. Stay in your lane. Water your own grass instead of staring at someone else's garden. You have no idea what it cost them to get there, and you don't need to know. What matters is what you're building, what you're learning, and who you're becoming. The moment you stop comparing, you free yourself to be content, to be peaceful, to be happy. And that's where true success begins, not in outshining others, but in finally being at peace with who you are and the path you're walking. Mental toughness creates emotional peace. It's not about being emotionless or cold. It's about having the strength to remain calm when everything around you is trying to pull you apart. Life will always test you. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. And unexpected challenges will show up when you least expect them. But your peace depends on one thing: how strong your mind is. When you build mental toughness, you stop reacting to every little thing that goes wrong. You stop letting emotions control your choices. You start responding instead of reacting. And in that space between chaos and control, peace is born. Mental toughness doesn't mean pretending things don't hurt. It means you feel it all, but you don't let it define you. You acknowledge the pain, but you don't drown in it. You learn to see beyond the moment, to recognize that not every problem deserves a reaction, and not every person deserves your energy. The stronger your mindset becomes, the quieter your emotions get. You begin to understand that calmness is not weakness, it's power. It's the kind of strength that allows you to stay steady while everyone else is losing control. A mentally tough person knows that peace is a choice, not a coincidence. They don't wait for life to get easier, they train themselves to handle life better. They practice patience when things move slowly. They keep faith when the outcome isn't clear. They stay disciplined even when motivation fades. That's what toughness really looks like: consistency, resilience, self-control. It's waking up every day and deciding that no matter what happens, you'll meet it with a stable mind and a steady heart. You stop expecting the world to be fair or gentle and start focusing on how you respond to it. That shift changes everything. Emotional peace is the reward of that strength. When your mind is strong, your emotions no longer toss you around. You don't overthink every situation. You don't take every word personally. You stop arguing with things you can't change. Instead, you learn the art of letting go. Letting go of control, of judgment, of the need to always be right. That's real peace. The kind that comes when your confidence is rooted in self-awareness, not in outside validation. The truth is, happiness follows strength. It doesn't come from avoiding pain or keeping life easy. It comes from knowing you can handle whatever comes your way. When you trust your own mental resilience, nothing feels too heavy. Problems still come, but they don't shake you. People still hurt you, but they don't break you. The world still tests you, but it no longer owns your peace. And that's when you realize happiness isn't built by escaping struggle. It's built by mastering it. The tougher your mind becomes, the freer your heart feels. Don't chase happiness, chase growth. Because the more you run after happiness, the more it seems to slip away. The harder you try to feel good all the time, the more you realize how impossible that is. Happiness isn't meant to be a constant state. It's meant to be the outcome of growth. When you focus on growth, on becoming stronger, wiser, and more self-aware, happiness starts to appear naturally. But when you chase happiness itself, you start living reactively, needing everything to go right, everyone to agree with you, every situation to be comfortable. That's not happiness. That's dependency. True happiness is built from the kind of growth that changes who you are on the inside, not just how you feel on the outside. Growth isn't glamorous. It's messy, uncomfortable, and often lonely. It demands sacrifice, honesty, and effort. It asks you to confront your weaknesses, your fears, and your bad habits. But growth gives back something far more valuable than temporary pleasure. It gives you purpose, and purpose gives your life direction. When you're focused on growing, every setback becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes feedback. Every hard moment becomes a test of how much stronger you're willing to become. That's where fulfillment comes from, not from comfort, not from praise, but from knowing you're becoming a better version of yourself every day. People often say they just want to be happy, but happiness that depends on conditions never lasts. If your happiness depends on other people's behavior, you'll always feel unstable. If it depends on success, you'll lose it the moment things don't go your way. But when it's rooted in growth, it becomes unshakable. Because even when life falls apart, you're still evolving. Even when things don't turn out how you wanted, you're still learning. Growth gives you something happiness alone never can: meaning. And meaning lasts longer than any mood. Chasing growth means asking yourself hard questions. It means being willing to change your attitude, your habits, your mindset. It means doing the uncomfortable work that most people avoid. Reading instead of scrolling, reflecting instead of reacting, getting back up instead of quitting. Every small act of discipline becomes a seed of happiness because it strengthens your self-respect. When you respect yourself, you stop needing the world's approval. You stop chasing pleasure and start living with intention. The truth is, happiness will come and go. That's normal. But growth, that's what keeps you grounded. The more you grow, the deeper your capacity for joy becomes. You stop needing everything to be perfect because you've built yourself to handle the imperfect. You start finding peace, not just in the highs, but also in the process, in the climb, in the effort itself. So don't waste your life chasing happiness. Chase growth, chase meaning, chase becoming someone you're proud of. Happiness will follow, quietly, steadily, and on its own terms. Choose gratitude over grievance. Because the truth is, you can't hold both in your heart at the same time. You can't be thankful and bitter in the same breath. One will always overpower the other, and every single day, you get to decide which one wins. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It's a choice, a practice, a discipline. It's the ability to look at what you have and see it as enough, even when life isn't perfect. Grievance, on the other hand, feeds on what's missing. It thrives on comparison, on resentment, on the idea that life owes you something more. The longer you feed that mindset, the more it drains your peace. Gratitude restores that peace by reminding you that what you have right now is already more than enough to start with. People often confuse gratitude with denial, as if being grateful means pretending everything is okay. But real gratitude isn't about ignoring pain. It's about acknowledging it without letting it blind you to what's still good. You can be grateful and still hurt. You can be thankful and still want better. Gratitude doesn't erase your struggles, it gives them perspective. It shifts your focus from what you've lost to what remains, from what went wrong to what you can still learn. And that shift is powerful, because once your mind starts looking for reasons to be thankful, it begins to see abundance instead of lack. That's where happiness begins to rebuild itself. Grievance keeps you stuck. It keeps you angry, repeating the same stories in your head about what should have happened, what someone did, or what life didn't give you. It convinces you that peace will come only when something changes. When people apologize, when justice arrives, when the world finally treats you fairly. But waiting for those things keeps your joy hostage. Gratitude frees you. It allows you to take back control by saying, yes, things hurt, but I'm still standing. I still have breath. I still have chances. When you live in gratitude, even the smallest things, a quiet morning, a friend's message, a lesson learned, start to feel sacred. The more you practice gratitude, the stronger you become. It builds resilience because it forces your attention toward growth. You start to see every challenge as an opportunity to develop character. You begin to understand that every loss taught you something that shaped your strength. Gratitude rewires your perspective until peace becomes your default response instead of anger. And when that happens, life doesn't need to be perfect for you to feel fulfilled. You start to find contentment, not in what you're given, but in how you see it. So, every morning, ask yourself one question: what's still good in my life? It doesn't have to be big. It could be your health, your willpower, the air in your lungs, because that's where true happiness begins. Not in chasing what's missing, but in appreciating what's already here. Gratitude won't erase every storm, but it will remind you that you've survived them before. And that reminder, that strength, is the kind of quiet joy grievance can never give you. Challenge yourself daily to find joy in the smallest victories. Because most of life isn't made up of big, dramatic moments. It's made up of small, ordinary days. And if you wait for something huge to happen to feel happy, you'll spend most of your life waiting. Happiness isn't in the promotion, the milestone, or the applause. It's in the quiet, almost invisible moments where you choose to keep going. It's in waking up early even when you're tired, in finishing a task no one will ever notice, in speaking kindly when it would have been easier not to. Those moments might not feel like much, but they're what shape you. They're what build self-respect, and self-respect is where real happiness grows. The problem is, we're conditioned to celebrate only the big wins. We think happiness comes when everything falls perfectly into place, when we've made it, when we've proven ourselves. But the truth is, the big moments are rare. They're fleeting. They fade fast. If you tie your joy to them, your happiness will always be unstable. Real joy lives in the process, in showing up, in staying consistent, in doing your best even when no one's watching. It's the kind of happiness that doesn't need permission from circumstances to exist. You build it quietly, through the daily work of becoming someone you're proud of. Finding joy in small victories also means changing how you see progress. Too often, we dismiss small steps because they don't look like success yet. But everything great you'll ever build starts with small, repetitive actions. One page written, one workout completed, one kind conversation. It's the small things that create momentum. When you start recognizing and appreciating them, you create energy to keep going. You stop feeling like you're failing just because you haven't reached the finish line yet. The truth is, progress is happiness. Every time you move forward, no matter how slightly, you remind yourself that you're capable of growth. You also find happiness when you slow down enough to notice life happening around you. The smile of a stranger, the warmth of sunlight on your face, the sound of laughter. These aren't insignificant. They're proof that even in the middle of your struggles, there's still beauty worth noticing. When you start seeing joy in the ordinary, the extraordinary stops feeling so far away. You realize happiness was never about achieving more. It was about paying attention to what's already here. So, challenge yourself every day to look for something worth appreciating. It could be how far you've come, how much stronger you've become, or how you didn't give up today. Those small victories are the foundation of peace. Because when you learn to celebrate little things, nothing feels too small to be grateful for. And in that space, between what you're still chasing and what you already have, you'll find a steady, quiet kind of happiness that no one can take away from you.